How's it going, everyone? I'm Adam Bongiovanni, and I'm here with our March 2019 Book of the Month author, Richard Haight, otherwise known as martial arts expert, spiritual teacher, and best-selling author of the Unbound Soul. Richard, thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam, for having me.
No problem at all. Yeah, we've went back and forth for about a month. I know it's not March anymore. I know you're technically not the current Book of the Month author, but I'm glad we finally got on call and our schedules aligned.
Yes.
You also joined me at 9 a.m. on a Saturday, which is extremely nice of you. I feel like a lot of people probably wouldn't be willing to get up before maybe 11. So thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
Not at all. My pleasure.
Great. Okay. So I've been promoting your book and you for the last few months on our social media accounts. And according to your bio, you began your path of awakening at age 8. I'd love to know how that all started.
Yeah. Well, it was an unexpected turn of events. I was just an 8-year-old kid. You know, I remember it was summertime and we were playing war up in the hills. We usually did. We usually played Cowboys and Indians of War or something like that.
Yep.
At the end of the day, the eldest neighborhood boy came up on the hill and informed us that we needed to attend his mother's Bible study class, which was the following Wednesday night. Of course, none of us knew what Bible study was. And he just clarified that if we didn't go, we would burn in hell.
Oh.
And so, of course, we all signed up on the spot.
Yeah.
It's only reasonable.
Yeah, I think burning in hell for all eternity is would scare any 8-year-old kid.
Yeah. So we all started attending, and about 3 months into it, now we were given homework every night.
Yeah.
And younger kids were separated from the older kids, and the younger kids class we were just taught, like the daughter of the person who ran the thing taught us, and she would read through the 4 canonical stories of Jesus to Mark, Luke, John, and Matthew. And so you're basically just reading, you're learning about his life, and I was, I really thought he was a cool guy. I mean, I was just an 8-year-old kid, but he was a good hero for me.
Yeah.
And so now I had a learning disorder, but we were given reading homework every night. So I wouldn't read anything that was the homework from school. I mean, it was so frustrating to try and read, but I would always try to read the content that we had studied.
Yeah.
The week before. I would try to go to that area and read because I already knew the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured if I could, kind of read through it, I could remember what was said and sort of piece it together.
Of course.
So, and I actually enjoyed doing that for some reason that I can't explain, because I disdained reading otherwise.
Mm.
And then, I don't know, about 3 months in, we were gathered into the main room with the older kids, and the leader of the Bible study, Mrs. Bassetti, and I've changed the name to protect identities, told us that we were shepherds of the Lord, and we needed to find the lost sheep and bring them back to the Lord, so that they wouldn't burn in hell. And it was explained that anybody who wasn't a born again Christian would burn in hell for eternity, and that would include other forms of Christianity.
Oh wow!
And so we were to convert our parents, and so I went home that night determined. I certainly didn't want my parents to burn in hell.
Of course.
And my parents were quite shocked that their, goofy 8-year-old boy is asking them to have, a conversation about religion. But they agreed to it, so long as it was an adult conversation.
For sure.
We got our Bibles after dinner and had our discussion. And my father basically walked me through a thought process that I guess kind of opened up a doorway within. And he just pointed out that, pretty much a lot of religions around the world do the same thing, where they will say you're this or you'll burn in hell.
Yeah.
And so the question is, are we all going to burn in hell just because we weren't born in the right place at the right time to get the right word? And then he asked me if I would love or respect a God that would send people to hell for not having, the exact right belief system.
Yeah.
And if I was being honest, I wouldn't even like that God. So. And then he led me through some of the, if you read the different for canonical Bibles, you could read the same essential passage and find different meanings because of the way it's written.
For sure.
In the different passages and the way it could be interpreted. And so it was, you basically summarized, like, do you really want to know the truth of God? And if you do, you're going to have to, you're going to have to be persistent, and you're going to have to have an open mind and really dedicate yourself to it. And he said he didn't think he knew the truth, and he didn't think anybody else did either, but that it was, in his mind, a worthy exploration. And strange thing now is this, in retrospect, this whole conversation was not in character with my father. I mean, he's a very hard person and rather difficult in many ways, and certainly not intellectual in any way, and doesn't show any interest in religion. So this is all just like out of left field.
It was a very different thing than you were used to with your discussions with your father.
Oh yeah, that I was used to, and he was never like this again in my life.
Wow. So this one time, it definitely sticks out to you for sure, because it was like this one time event that didn't repeat itself.
Yes, it's just totally unique experience. And so the strange thing is that after this, I started having what I would describe as a mystical experience or visionary dream that would come to me. It was just multiple times over a period of months. And so the first time that it happened, I would wake up in dream state, so it was a kind of lucid dream. Yeah. Where the room had a kind of warm glow to it. I could visibly see, even though the lights were off, and in the middle of the room, lying on the floor, there was a man. And the strange thing is that, you're an 8-year-old boy, and there's a stranger in your room in the middle of the night. It would be a terrifying experience.
Of course.
But in this case, it felt welcoming, and that I should approach, and it was very safe. And so I got up and approached this person and looked down in his eyes, and suddenly, for whatever reason, this was Jesus Christ. And so I'm looking into his eyes, and I could see this love and compassionate eyes, but there was a deep sorrow. And then he looked up at me and said, "Help me." Wow. And so I thought, being an 8-year-old boy, I thought he wanted help to stand up. So I grabbed onto his arm to try and pick him up, and his arm squished in my hand like a water balloon. Wow. I realized he had no bones. And then I looked back into his eyes, because I'm like, what am I going to do with your body? You're basically a sagging bag of water. Yeah. In my mind, and he just looked at me again and said, "Help me." And then I would wake up out of the dream. Wow. In tears, because I just had a conversation with Jesus Christ, who's asking me in a very kind of desperate way to help him, but I don't know how to help him. Something's wrong. He doesn't have any bones. And so I would just think about this day in and day out. I'd be at school thinking about this, and the dream would repeat. I don't remember how many times it repeated, more than 10 times probably. Wow. Over a period of months, it was exactly the same every time. And your responses in the dream to him weren't any different? Like, it was the exact same, pattern, like it started here? Wow. Scripted. Wow. Yeah, every time I was in the dream, I would forget that I had the dream before. Of course, because that is mind-blowing to me. Just hearing that, and there's so many different things that are going through my mind, I almost can't collect my thoughts to even ask a question, because I'm just so interested in what happened, so I'm just going to let you continue with the story. Yeah, it's still baffling to me. I have no idea how any of that is possible. It's really unbelievable. What happened? Huh? It's really unbelievable. Yes. The strange thing is, so I write about this in the book, Unbound Soul. People say, "Well, it's really unbelievable," but I can't believe this story, but it happened to me, and it's unbelievable to me too. So I can't blame them. Yeah. But that's what happened. Wow. So anyway, I don't know, maybe 6-ish months into it. I was an 8-year-old boy, so I really don't remember exactly how long. But by my feeling now, it's half a year or so into this, multiple dreams into this. For some reason, at that second help me statement, that second help me plea, a surge of energy came through my body, anchoring me into the dream. I didn't get kicked out this time. And so I could then ask the next question: "How can I help you?" And he said, "Find my bones, for they are the essence or core of my teaching. The essence of my teaching has been distorted and lost due to the greed and insecurity of mankind, and trying to create you say, trying to create an idea that was spread, essentially.
Wow.
Right. And so I'm 8 years old, and I'm like, okay, so what do I do with that? And he says, find my bones and bring them back to the world. Find the essence of my teachings and give it back to the world. And so I'm 8 years old, but I don't really, know what that means. I don't know really the ramifications. I don't think even a fully mature adult would understand the ramifications of that. But at that time in the dream, it just felt totally right. Like every cell in my body was like, yes, this is what you've got to do. This is your purpose. This is your life mission. And so I said yes. And then I was out of the dream. And that was the last dream of Jesus that I had. And that began a tremendous, unexpected, adventurous life of exploration and revelation.
Oh my, see, the craziest thing is that I feel like if something I'm a very open-minded person, so I don't like to be like, oh well, that was your subconscious, that was this, that was that. Just the way that happened, Richard, and how over and over you had the same scripted dream where nothing changed, and then finally, after time and time again of the same thing happening and you really not being able to understand, he finally lays down this this kind of just a little moment of wisdom where it's everything kind of adds up, and where you as an 8-year-old kid who's not looking you can formulate these thoughts where you're going to kind of create this in a way. It just seems like it feels so real based on what you're saying. It doesn't seem like something an 8-year-old mind can really concoct, and that's
it's interesting. I thought a lot about this.
I'm sure.
There's no way of knowing what the source of this
was.
Not really.
Of course.
I mean, you could believe it's Jesus, actually.
Yeah.
Or not. Or it's the subconscious, or not. The end effect was the same.
Yeah.
The end effect was the same. It led me in this direction that I would otherwise simply never have gone. And to your point, let's assume that it was a subconscious.
Okay.
That means to me that the subconscious, let's assume that that was the case. What would that mean? That an 8-year-old subconscious is... there's a kind of genius there that it's hard to believe. It means that whatever the human being is, it's far beyond, if that were true, far beyond what we give it credit for.
Yeah. That's the best point you could have made. It's because no matter what this was, it's an unexplained, unbelievable kind of moment that not only, of course, that changed the course of your life, but I feel like anyone that hears this story, this is a story I will 1,000,000% remember for the rest of my life. This is a story I'm going to be telling a ton of people, because it's just sitting here and listening, I'm still baffled and trying to kind of put everything together. But hearing what you're saying is what I'm kind of taking from it, that no matter what the cause of this was, there's still so much to kind of take from that experience.
Yeah, it almost doesn't matter to me what the story is, but what the story our mind concocts to justify it. The beauty and awe, the depth and the potential that's there far outstrips anything that we believe the mind has the capacity to do.
Yes.
In science, anyway.
Yeah.
And in any case, whatever story we get behind it, there's some sort of grace there. There's some sort of in tremendous wisdom and depth that I don't think we can really encapsulate with our thoughts.
You're right. No, I'm totally with you. And after this, so you're what, 8, 9 at this point, when this is happening, around that age range.
Yeah.
I know you've done so much in your life, but right after this, in the next years coming after that, what did you do? How did you take this knowledge and kind of use it to propel you further in life? What did you take this, and what was kind of your next step? Because as an 8-year-old, I don't even know what I would have done at that point.
So now you know exactly how I felt. It was very strange to me when I woke up from that dream and then thought about it over the next period of weeks, months, or whatever. I knew deep in my body how I knew this. I don't know, and it's just very, very clear. It's as if he had said it to me, but he didn't actually say it to me.
Yeah.
What this knowledge was is that I couldn't get this information. I wouldn't find the bones of Christ in a book. I wouldn't find it from some adult. Nobody's going to be able to teach me this. I need to discover it for myself.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing an 8-year-old boy wants to hear.
Yeah.
We want to be given the answer.
Yep.
We want the easy way out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a challenge for anybody of any age, of any intellect or intelligence. And so I had nowhere to go. I had no idea even where to begin. It's just utterly clueless.
Yeah.
And that created a kind of frustration beyond imagination.
Of course.
Because this desperation, this feeling like this has to be done now. And it really felt like it had to be done now. Not like when I'm 40.
Yeah.
And it felt like I had to be there. I had to know these bones now. And right now I need to be teaching this to people. I didn't know what to do. Didn't know where to go. So in vain, I tried. My grandparents came down a few times and invited me to go to church with them. They were also born-again Christians. And maybe I'll go. And maybe there's something there, kind of in vain.
Of course.
Give it a try. And no, it was just, the sermons were all about hellfire and damnation, the same, it just felt completely wrong to be there. This isn't the right place for me. I felt it so deeply. I'm like, this is misguided.
Of course.
I mean, that's my perspective of it now. When as a child, it just felt like viscerally wrong.
It almost feels like it was so different than what your dreams represented, right? It was like, it was kind of like the complete opposite of what you think, of what you think Jesus would stand for, right?
Here's the direction of heaven, and you just turn 180 degrees and you go the opposite. It's like that.
It's like, and I'm totally with you on this. It's like based on your dream, right? Just like solely based off your dream. If you take who Jesus was in the dream, it was this kind person who almost looked like he needed your help in a way where it's like everything that's being preached, not everything, but a lot that's being out there is so against what the good-natured human or Jesus believes in, So it almost feels like everything that do this or you're going to hell is so against that message from your dream.
Yes. It's such a distortion. And fear sells. If you get people in a fearful state.
Yeah.
It works.
Emotion, right?
People oftentimes fall for that. A certain percentage of people will, and
for sure.
That's just not going to take you to that place of clarity or unconditioned love.
Yep.
Whatever it would be worth to get out of Jesus' teachings and that path, you're not going to find through the avenue of fear.
You're right. I couldn't agree more with you.
It says that right in the Bible. So, First John, it describes the nature of the human being and how, if you're living in fear, you haven't been perfected by love.
That just says so phenomenally put. Like it's so true though. It really is.
It says it right there, but almost all of what's available, a lot of what's available, is entirely fear-based or ego-based or.
You're right, it sells, right? But invoking these emotions like do this or you're going to burn for eternity, that sells.
It's an easy way to get a flock.
It is. Very true.
But that flock is coming from the wrong intention, the wrong motivation. The chances of them having that clarity revealed to them is pretty slim.
You're right. And I feel like just speaking on this, so when you put together the Unbound Soul, my final question for you is, how did you, with everything that happened, right, and all, even this just one story that propelled you for I'm assuming this set up the foundation for what was to come for the next 30, 40 years, how did you fit that all in one book? I feel like there's so much more than you could fit in just one book.
Oh yes, that's so true. I write multiple books at the same time.
That makes sense.
Right now there's about 10 books in the forge, so to speak. And so I honestly don't know. The question is, it's hard for me to answer because in a way it sounds so strange. I know it sounds strange, but this is the actual experience of it. I'd been teaching a seminar, and at the end of the seminar, I just knew how the book was going to lay out.
Wow.
It was just obvious. It was like a flash of insight, and I knew how the book was going to lay out, and essentially the core of what needed to be in it and what didn't need to be in it.
Wow.
And I started writing, and if I pick up the Unbound Soul and I read it now, I get as much or more out of it than probably a normal reader would. It's almost like it's not me that wrote it. It's a really strange perspective. I know I typed it, and the words that came out of my mouth were within my vocabulary range, more or less. But there's something deeper behind it.
For sure. It goes to what you said, originally said about the 8-year-olds.
The whole thing was written in 3 months.
Wow. That's impressive.
And it was done. That was the first book I ever wrote. So.
Wow, that's impressive. 3 months, and with so much information, it kind of goes back to what you said. I think we have so much, no matter what the cause of your initial dream was, I think the human mind and the humans as a whole, we have so much more to offer, and we're so much deeper than we even know. And I think that's, you knowing exactly how the book should be laid out is something that we can't explain, but it makes sense, and I think it ties perfectly in with your initial dream that kind of started all this.
Yes. In fact, basically the whole Unbound Soul is designed to strip away those barriers so that we can find that whatever that deeper awareness is, that it is a feeling of connectedness to our environment, a feeling of oneness, of deep, deep meaning. But there's also some other kind of deep intelligence there that I can't exactly quantify. Now, when the mind tries to define it, then you've actually got a barrier to it. The mind is the barrier to it. You kind of have to open up and relax that mind.
Wow. And
step out of your perspective of self in order to open up to some of these deeper awarenesses. Whence they come, I cannot say.
You just kind of have to, you can't force it. You have to just let your mind get there on its own, it feels like. And I'm, like I said, this is a conversation, Richard, that I will never forget. And I'm very grateful that I was able to talk to you today. I've learned so much, and it feels like, based on what you describing that dream and things feeling right, this conversation just felt extremely right. And everything you said just made complete sense to me, and there was not one point in the interview where I'm like, oh, I don't get that. Like, everything just made sense. So I just want to thank you for bestowing this knowledge and this information and just telling your story. And I'd love to have you on again, because there's a million more questions I have, and I'd love to do this another time. Just thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Adam. It was a pleasure.
For sure. And guys, if you're watching, Unbound Soul, get it now. We're gonna have all the links below. Richard, where can they find you on social media?
I've got Richard Haight, author, I think is my name, on Facebook.
Hey, easy enough.
I'm pretty not social media savvy, actually, to be honest, but I do have a Facebook that I think is Richard Haight, author.
I'll link it below. Book of the Month author 2019, The Unbound Soul, Richard Haight. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of the weekend.
Take care.
Thank you so much, Richard. Have a great one. Bye-bye. There you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Richard, if you're watching, thank you so much for joining me. What a discussion. That talk is one I will never forget. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Go buy The Unbound Soul. Read it. Based on this conversation, I think you won't regret it. I will see you next time, and as always, from OnlineBookClub.org, I'm Unbound Soul.